How do you know that the quality of education is still there? Pagkatapos wala pa yung modules. Can you imagine, Madam Chair, what kind of quality of education do we expect now sa ating mga kabataan? So this is how erratic and I think chaotic the start of DEPEd. So, paano sasabihin mo, Yusek, na kayo ang, ikaw ang tagapangulo ng curriculum sector ng DEPEd, bakit nide-delegate niyo sa isang grupo sa UP ang paggawa ng curriculum? You cannot delegate something that was already delegated to you.
I'm not in the know. I think they are not paid.
You're supposed to be in the know kasi
as I was saying, the understanding is they are supported by funds from the Australian government.
Can you imagine, so curriculum ang pinag-uusapan, Madam Chair, and the USEC is not in the know. How can you justify that? You have to be very careful in your statements because if I can produce the documents telling otherwise, baka magkaroon ka ng problema. Huwag kayong masyadong mabilis magsalita. Ito yung problema natin. Madam Chair, ang gumagawa na ng modules teachers, hindi po nila trabaho yun eh. Ang teacher po magtuturo yan. Pinaggawa niya ng module. Sila nagpo-photocopy. Sila nagbabound ng mga libro. Isip-isipin nyo, para lang mag-prepare na sana sila sa kanilang pagtuturo. Sila pa ang ginawa ninyong okupado sa paggawa nito. Pagkatapos meron na naman kayong budget for, ito na na module, 15.2 billion next year. Why are you going to waste this? Sa libro, 963 million lang. Ito ginamit na ninyo, 9 billion, hindi pala nabigyan lahat. Ngayon meron na naman kayong 15 billion. Why don't you go to books? Ayaw ninyo because ayan, private sector publishers. 2 years ago, at the prodding of the very Secretary of the Department of Education, 2 years ago, sinabihan na kayo to streamline the competencies. That is why, ang akala ko, parado tayo. Pero yung unang tanong ko lang, Madam Chair, nobody is daring to answer. How do you know that by streamlining the competencies by 60%, ang natira na lang is 40%. How do you know that the quality of education is still there? Pagkatapos wala pa yung modules. Can you imagine, Madam Chair, what kind of quality of education do we expect now sa ating mga kabataan? Binaba na nga nila yung sabi nila, this is the most, tawag nila milks. Most essential learning competencies or milks. From 100%, it went down to only 40%. Sinong gumawa nun? Is it DEPEd? You have a partner by the name of Assessment, Curriculum and Technology Research Center. What is this center, Madam?
Okay, Yusek San Antonio.
Yes po, there are several questions. So yung quick answer po sa Assessment, Curriculum and Research and Technology Center is a center based at UP Diliman. I guess it's funded by the Australian government that has been providing technical support to our teams in the review of the curriculum. The first phase of the curriculum review has been completed. This was the review of the intended curriculum. As mentioned po by Congressman Marcoleta, the process of reviewing the curriculum was already taking place prior to COVID. And
can we start with the numbers? Can we start with the numbers?
The competencies, the most essential learning competencies.
I want you to start.
Initial output of
excuse me. I want you to start supplying us the numbers of the modules that you have so far produced.
As mentioned po earlier, it's 59%. Our target for printed self-learning modules is
where are these 59% modules
of the enrollment.
Teka muna.
59% of
Nasaan yung mga 59% na modules na na-produce na ninyo? Where are these? I want to find out.
I will be mentioning po the divisions that have reported to be on some time in their process of reproducing the modules. I'll just retrieve my file.
Baka magkamali ka, Yusek. Interlock, for example, I will tell you, napaka-ingenious ng mga tao doon. Did you know that they did not even wait for your modules? Gumawa sila ng sarili nilang learning materials. They call it Project Simple. Meron silang mga ginawang indigenous na mga materials. At pagkatapos, sinuportahan sila ng LGUs. Madam Chair, I want to report to you that in Tarlac, there are two divisions, the Tarlac City Division and the Tarlac Provincial Divisions. Nakumpleto nila ito with only 20 million pesos. Okay? Na-identify nila yung sector that are connected. Meron silang IT, may laptop, and so marami silang pinagkuhanan na tao, including us. So yung 80% na lang ang susuplayan nila ng modular materials. They were identified that. So marami na. Kaya yung dinownload ninyo na 79 million, pinag-iisipan pa nila kung gagawa pa sila nung modules ninyo. Kasi magkaka-doble-doble na ang gagawin nila. So this is how erratic and I think chaotic the start of DEPEd. So paano sasabihin mo, Yusek, na kayo ang ikaw ang tagapangulo ng curriculum sector ng DEPEd, bakit di-delegate niyo sa isang grupo sa UP ang paggawa ng curriculum? You cannot delegate something that was already delegated to you. Ikaw ang tagapangulo ng curriculum sector ng DEPEd, bakit di-delegate niyo sa isang grupo sa UP ang paggawa ng curriculum? You cannot delegate something that was already delegated to you. That is your primary function. Paano natin nalaman na yung 40% na streamlining ng competencies, yun ang correct na volume na dapat lamang na pag-aralan ng taong ng bata ngayon during COVID? Paano natin ma-justify?
Madam Chair, let me reiterate that it was not entrusted to the RC. They just provided technical support. The effort in reviewing the curriculum was undertaken by the Bureau of Curriculum Development, and we utilized certain criteria. The most important criterion used in determining which learning competencies would be retained is endurance. When we talk about endurance, these are the competencies, skills, knowledge that a child needs for him or for her to be able to acquire, to be ready to learn more in terms of the challenges of learning the things that are supposed to be learned in the next grade. So we had some considerations in doing this. The reason why the most essential learning competencies has been reduced is there were those that were merged. There were those that were deleted because they were repetitious. There were those that were also added. And again, just to point out, Madam Chair, that the effort was not given to anyone else. We just enjoyed the technical support of an agency that is supposed to provide help to us. I think, Madam Chair, it's okay for the Department of Education to utilize the expertise of people around us. We don't claim to be the experts. We always interact with the stakeholders and we recognize their support. In certain aspects of the things we do, we also collaborate with PNU, we collaborate with other universities, we listen to them because we don't really claim that we are the only ones who know. But I feel that when we say we want to work with 40% of the competencies, we did not abandon the things that were very important. We just decided to pay attention to the most important foundational competencies which we feel the learners should possess.
Nakalagay ba sa budget ninyo itong participation ng group na ito? I didn't see it in the budget of 2020. How is this group compensated?
Madam Chair, I'm not in the know. I think they are not paid.
You're supposed to be in the know kasi
as I was saying, the understanding is they are supported by funds from the Australian government.
Can you imagine,
so
curriculum ang pinag-uusapan, Madam Chair? and the USEC is not in the know. How can you justify that? Tinatanong ko lang, saan nyo kinuha ang budget to for example, get the assistance of this group?
Madam Chair, I think I said that my understanding is DEPEd does not pay them. But the other members of the EXICOM can check me because or my directors can check
anybody
me if
from
I'm correct.
present, is it true na hindi nyo binayaran yung ACTRC?
Yusek Ana?
I think, Madam Chair, Director Joyce can be requested to provide the information. The Director of the Bureau of Curriculum Development.
Okay. Director Joy, you are recognized.
Madam Chair, good afternoon. This is Director Joy, the Director of the Bureau of Curriculum Development. Our partnership with ACRC goes back sometime during the making of the development of the K-12 curriculum.
The only question, Madam, is where is the budget?
Agency is an organization that
I'm not asking you to describe this organization, Madam, please.
Government.
You have to be very considerate. My question is, was this group ever budgeted? Because we didn't see any budget, coming from any group assisting DEPEd in the formulation of the curriculum. Saan po nakukuha yung budget nito?
I think from the, Mr. Chair, I think from the grant of the DEPEd, not from DEPEd.
What is that, Madam Chair?
Can you please repeat that, Director Joy?
Sorry, Madam Chair, it's from the Australian government.
Oh, so it's a grant.
It's a grant, yes.
It's an aid from the Australian government. Okay, go ahead.
You have to be very careful in your statements, because if I can produce the documents telling otherwise, baka magkaroon ka ng problema. Huwag kayong masyadong mabilis magsalita. So, considering na ang nagagawa pa lang is 59%, even assuming that that is correct, napakarami pa nang hindi na po-produce. At October 5, magsisimula na ang nagkakagulo na sa baba. Kasi kung hindi namin sila tutulungan, hindi sila makakapag-umpisa. This is how you will describe the starting point of DEPEd sa panahong ito. Pagkatapos, let's go about integrating the competencies, the most essential learning competencies. Ilan ba yung competencies na ilalagay nyo sa isang module? Okay, 40% na lang. Pwede ba dito na lang para madali tayo? Kasi masyadong maraming sinasabi yun, hindi ko maintindihan ang paliwanag niya.
Cong.Marcoleta,
On condition, Madam, that he should only answer the question.
Thank you.
No more, no less.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Let me just reiterate that when I said 59%, it's the target learners that will receive SLMs. When it comes to the status of the preparation relative to the reproduction of SLMs, our tracking indicates that as of today, 77.57% or 166 out of 214 schools.
Madam Chair, I have a problem with the way this USEC is answering. It's too long and it is not even responsive. I am only asking how much is the budget for the SLMs. Good kung ano lamang ang tinatanong sa'yo, because I really wanted to know if this is the kind of, if this is how the way you produce the materials. Can you imagine, merong nagre-resograph, merong nagpo-photocopy, there is no definite, there is no standard way on how you're supposed to produce this, on how you bind this. Paano nyo i-bind ba ito? Ilang ba ang ilang bang competencies per student from K to 12? How do you intend to do this? Ang dami mo kasing kinukwento eh. But we are confused kung paano kayo mag-start. For example, ayaw nyong gumawa ng libro. Gusto nyo modules. Okay, nasa sa inyo na yan kung gusto gawin nyo.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I've not memorized all the numbers. I'm not very good in memorizing numbers. But my ASEC can help me provide the exact numbers requested by
10 ang modules.
Marcoleta.
And the total pages 258. Madam Chair, alam mo ang problema nila? Kasi ayaw nilang gumawa ng libro. Kasi sinabi namin, you forgot the publishing industry. Noong pa, 2 budgets ago, sinabi ko na sa kanila, mali ang ginagawa ninyo because under 8047, NBDB should be the one guiding the private sector publishers to produce all books. Hindi na kayo. Wala na kayong authority gumawa ng libro. So what they decided, okay, gumawa ng ibang kaparaanan, hindi na raw libro to, Madam Chair. These are modules already. Because a textbook under the UNESCO standard should have at least 48 pages. So yung modules nila is 30 pages. Okay? Pero kapag pinagsama-sama mo, for example, yung kindergarten, 10 modules, 258 pages to. It's more than a textbook. Hindi gumagawa din kayo ng libro. Bakit ganito? Bakit ganito nangyari? There is no more guidance, Madam Chair. Their budget is 9 billion. Let's say 9 billion for the first and second quarter. Paano nyo pinroduce? May standard ba kayong printing? Yung bang papel pare-pareho? Hindi po. Sa Tarlac po ang sinasabi ko sa iba-ibang klaseng papel ang ginamit. Pati ang pagbabound. Ngayon, kung gagamitin po yan ng estudyante, for how long that this student or pupil or learner will be able to take advantage of this one module nang hindi niya masisira, like a book. Tapos magpapalitan sila because there are 2 students that will share one module. Eh kung hindi naman kasing photographic memory ni Congressman Ted Daresco yung bata, paano ibibigay mo sa kanya? Hindi niya na maintindihan niya. It should be a ready reference for you. Ibig ba niyo sabihin na wala na libro, Madam? This is a simple question. Wala na libro ngayon na gagamitin? Only modules? No more books?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
I think it was very clear earlier that we mentioned that textbooks will still be used as supplement to the learning materials or resources that we have prepared.
So
let me also reiterate what I have mentioned earlier, that the most ideal learning resource for distance learn against our most essential learning competencies.
And tinatanong ko lamang sa'yo, Yusek San Antonio, is this. Ang libro ngayon na supplementary pa pala? Itong modules na ang principal, ganun ba? Dati, ang libro, yung essential, yung supplementary materials, dito yung mga modules. Pero ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, ito yung problema natin. Madam Chair, ang gumagawa na ng modules teachers, hindi po nila trabaho yun eh. Ang teacher po magtuturo yan. Yan ang pinaggagawa nila ngayon, no? Pinaggawa niyo ng module. Sila nagpo-photocopy, sila nagbabound ng mga libro. Isip-isipin nyo, para lang mag-prepare na sana sila sa kanilang pagtuturo. Sila pa ang ginawa ninyong okupado sa paggawa nito.
Excuse me, DS Marcoleta, can you please wrap up? Your 12 minutes is about to end.
Madam Chair, let me point out that the development teams for the self-learning are primarily our supervisors and master teachers. We understand that in some areas, those teachers who have been found to be competent in contributing their expertise so that we can develop the self-learning modules. You cannot
generalize, Yusek
San
Antonio. Please do not generalize. Do not generalize, please.
Madam Chair, I was sharing the issuance that we have made.
How many?
It's primarily
how
for
much is your budget? How much is your
etc.
budget for books this year?
Madam Chair, I think I've been very clear in saying that the most ideal
what is your budget for books
learning
this year?
is the use of modules.
Excuse me.
I've not found
what is your budget for books this year?
Excuse me, yes, DS, maybe Yusek Ann can be, would be the better person to answer that. Finance yan eh, so under yan kay Yusek Anna.
Here, Madam.
Sa finance po, ang ating textbook and other instructional materials is 962 million for this year.
Next year.
It's the same level,
The same,
Your Honor.
okay. But you did not procure any book this year, right? Alam ko eh. I-investigated.
Your Honor, I will have to refer to the Undersecretary or ASEC in charge of the procurement on that. Mine is finance.
Wala nga kayong pinrocure eh. Where is the procurement officer here? Did you procure books for this year? So, ito Madam Chair, pinipilit na naman itong USEC na ito na gagamitin daw ang libro. Wala nga silang pinrocure na libro ngayon. Ganito ka-chaotic, walang kaplano-plano. Magaling lang sila doon sa paggagawa ng mga ganitong write-up.
DS, your time is up, but just make your last statement before we move to the next interpolator because we still have the DICT.
Kasi I cannot connect this, Madam Chair. For example, yung sa mga laptop, yung computerization. I started initially earlier, sinasabi ko kay Yusek Pascua, yung iyong circular 620-0030. Ano bang nangyari ba sa yearly nating computerization, yung e-classroom natin? Every year, meron tayong procurement ng napakaraming laptop, ng PCs, and so on and so forth. Every year, meron kang budget na 1.5 billion to 5 billion. Meron kang computerization program para sa DEPEd. Nasaan na yung napakaraming PCs? Thousands of PCs. Bakit hindi ito na-integrate over the years? Hanggang sa gumawa ka pa uli ng circular, okay, sinabi mo rito, this is the specification for the procurement of PCs. Ang iyong circular mandates only 2 brands. Pati yung specification niya, iisa lang ang color. Madam Chair, can you imagine that? Napakamahal nitong it's an average of 5,000 to 6,500 per unit. Hindi siya ordinary. Samantalang meron kayong makukuha between 3,000 to 3,500 and you can supply most schools. So, how did you integrate now the computerization in the department over the years? And you have to procure so many computers with specified brands. Hindi ko maintindihan to. Kung halimbawa, Madam Chair, ito meron siyang nilagay. Ito yung sinasabi mo kanina, 500 for teachers, 500 pesos for teachers, merong 10 gigabytes bandwidth capacity. Sa estudyante naman, 300 for students, 6 gigabytes capacity. Can you imagine kung magkano ang postpaid and prepaid na mai-invest mo rito? A municipality like the municipality of Cong.Marcoleta is probably better to improving its own Wi-Fi at masusupplyan niya ang eskwela dito. Siguro with a radius of 5 kilometers away from this. Hindi ganito, Madam Chair. I'm really I am not a technical man, pero siguro simpleng system lang ito makikita eh. Pagkatapos meron na naman kayong budget for ito na modular 15.2 billion next year. Why are you going to waste this? Sa libro 963 million lang. Ito ginamit na ninyo 9 billion, hindi pala nabigyan lahat. Ngayon meron na naman kayong 15 billion. Why don't you go to books? Ayaw ninyo because ayan, private sector publishers. Nasa yung pinangako ninyo that the National Book Development Board should be reverted to the office of the President. Where are the guys? Nangako sila sa akin 3 years ago. Nagkaroon kami ng Zoom.
Excuse me, DS.
One na lang ito. Madam, I have to ask for your permission. Kasi nandito si Jose Kumali. I can remember, nag-Zoom kami, I think July. I engaged at least 3 or 4 USEC para lamang ayusin namin yung National Book